Hello everyone, my name is Adriana Frey and this is a presentation about hazard in a workplace. I will be informing and demonstrating the most common types of dangers and hazards when performing cleaning tasks in the workplace, and also a focus on precautions that should be followed. The presentation will take about 10 minutes and you can ask questions anytime. Also, I will send a digital copy of this presentation to your email. I will kindly ask you to fill the feedback report at the end of the presentation. Hazard in a workplace. There's some common terms that we're going to hear about during this presentation. That includes hazard, risk assessment, SDS, safety induction, PPE. What is hazard? There are many definitions for hazard, but the most common when talk about workplace health and safety is hazard is any source of potential damage, harm, or adverse health effects on something or someone. The occupational health and safety regulation, hazard identification and elimination, and risk assessment and control use the following terms. They are harm, it's a physical injury or damage to health. Hazard, a potential source of harm to a worker. What are examples of hazard? Workplace hazard can come from a wide range of sources. General examples include any substance, material, process, practice, etc. that has the ability to cause harm or adverse health effect to a person or property. What is risk? Risk is the chance of probability that a person will be harmed or experience an adverse health effect if exposed to a hazard. It may also apply to situations with property or equipment loss or harmful effect on the environment. These risks are expected as a probability of developing a disease or getting injured. Fact that defines the degree of likelihood of risk are the nature of the exposure, how the person is exposed, the severity of the effects. What is hazard identification? Hazard identification is part of the process used to evaluate if any particular situation, item, etc. may have the potential to cause harm. The term often used to describe the full process is risk assessment. What is risk assessment? Risk assessment is the process where you identify hazards and risk factors that have the potential to cause harm, hazard identification. Analyze and evaluate the risk associated with that hazard, risk analysis and risk evaluation. Determine appropriate ways to eliminate the hazard or control the risk when the hazard cannot be eliminated. What is a SDS? Safety data sheets are documents that provide information about the hazard of a product and advise about safety precautions. SDS are usually provided by the supplier of the product and provide more hazard information about the product than the label. SDS tell user what the hazard of the product are, how to use the product safely, how to recognize the symptoms of exposure, and what to do if emergency occurs. Information on SDS must include the chemicals, identity and ingredients, health and physical hazard, safety handling and storage procedures, emergency procedures, disposal considerations, hazard of the chemical and how to handle it safely, including storage and disposal, physical and chemical properties of the chemical, as well as potential health and emergency response measures, environment effects on the chemical. What is a safe induction? A safe induction informs your employee of your company's safety practices, give them the guidance they need to work safely and effectively with the company. In a nutshell, a safety induction is the first step for many employees to help them assist in the creation of a safer, more harmonious workplace. In our company, the new employee will have a safety induction on the first day of work, and they must sign the induction form, acknowledge the understanding of the company's safety practice and policy. I brought some induction records just to show how it is. PPE refers to anything used or worn to minimize risk to workers' health and safety. This may include, but not limited to, there's some example of PPE, like face masks, gloves. There's some kind of gloves, but there's some different kind of scopes that depends on the purpose you are using. Goggles, hard hats, hard vision clothing, safety harnesses, safety shoes, sunscreens, and there's another option, but not limited to these ones. In a cleaning workplace, it's really important to receive all instruction necessary to use equipment and clean chemicals. The cleaning service industry is faced with all types of dangers and hazards when an individual is performing cleaning tasks. This is why this line of work is often listed as one of the most dangerous professions in Australia. It's important to control risks at the lowest level practicable. Hazard management. Spot the hazard and how suitable the items you use and how well they are located, how people use the equipment and materials, how people might be affected by noise, fumes, etc., how people might get hurt by the equipment, assess the hazard. The hazard could kill or cause permanent disability, illness, can cause long-term illness or serious injury. The employee might need medical attention or be off work for a period of time. Fix the hazard. Report all faulty equipment. Eliminate dangers in work procedures. You must do everything you can to eliminate risk and ensure health and safety of people in the workplace. Report hazard. Being operational solutions, evaluate the risks. Hazard identification. Any equipment must be instructed how to operate. I brought one example of a cleaning equipment, and the most common fault the cleaner does is not to fit correctly the equipment on your body, especially when you use a vacuum. It's really important to fit correctly the belts and the straps and never bend to get anything from the floor, you might get your back injured. Right? This is the correct way to use the vacuum. And also be careful with extension cords while cleaning. Just a little help up. Chemicals. It's important to know the purpose for each chemical and follow the instructions from the SDS. Never mix any chemical with other than water. Use appropriate gloves and glass to protect eyes from spills. Slips, trips, and falls. It's one of the most common incidents in a cleaning workplace. Extremely important to display a wet front side. Can be one of these or any kind of sign, just to make sure that people can see the sign. And use appropriate shoes when mopping, when cleaning a wet floor, and never run in a wet floor. Sharp objects. The most common concern when use sharp blades is injury such as cuts or amputation. It's important to use the right tool for the job that it was designed for only. Inspect the tool before use and follow the training and the safe use of any tool. Biological hazard. Would include any exposure to bacteria, fungi, and or mold. These elements can be quite harmful in the cleaning service industry. The correct discard of these hazards should avoid any accidental contamination, and also the use of gloves and protective clothes for when disposing them. Electrical. An electrical risk is a risk to a person of death, shock, or other injury caused directly or indirectly by electricity. The risk of injury from electricity is strongly linked to where and how it's used. Other potential risks include portable equipment like vacuum cleaning, extension leads, plugs, and electrical connections. Report incidents in a workplace. Emergency procedure. The company must ensure an emergency plan is prepared for the workplace in compliance to the work, health, and safety regulations. This is a set of instructions that outline what workers and others at the workplace should do in an emergency. Report incidents in a workplace. It must include emergency procedure, include effective response to the emergency, evacuation procedures, notifying emergency service at the earliest opportunity, medical treatment and assistance, testing of emergency procedures, include the frequency of testing, information, training, and instruction to relevant workers in relation to the implementing of emergency procedure. Incident report. A work and incident report. A work and health and safety incident report, is an official document to record the key details of the incident in a workplace. The aim of the incident report is to record the basic information surrounding the incident. Information record should include in the incident report, a brief description of the incident, when did the incident occur, who were the parties involved, where did it happen, what was the incident type, was anyone injured, what were the injuries sustained. Occupation, health, and safety. Occupational health and safety is concerned with protecting the safety, health, and welfare of people engaged in work or employment, regardless of the nature of the work. Work should be able to care or their responsibility in the safe and the secure working environment, free from hazards. Then New South Wales Occupational Health and Safety Act 2000 places absolute duties on employers, employee, contractor, and workplace to provide safe, healthy, and safety in the workplace, to ensure that risks to health and safety in the workplace are identified, assessed, and eliminated or controlled. Employees have responsibilities under the occupational health and safety. They must work safely to protect themselves and others from injury and follow all instructions. Wear all personal protective equipment provided, follow safe work procedures, not interfere or misuse anything provided by the employer that is used to keep the workplace safe. Do not behave in any way that puts themselves or others at risk. Respond to a reasonable request to provide assistance or first aid to an injured person at work. Report any issue, including hazard, injuries, illness, and near misses. It's a responsibility for everyone associated in the workplace. Thank you, everyone. We'll send the feedback form reports to you. I will be really happy if you can give me some feedback about my presentation. And thank you for attending today.